My nightmare began at 5 o'clock in the morning on June 17, 1983.
مونا
محمودنجاد
رویا اشراقی سیمین صابری شیرین دالوند اختر
ثابت
محشید نیرومند زرین مقیمی آبیانه طاهره ارجمندی سیاوشی نصرت غفرانی یلدایی عزت جانمی اشراقی
When it comes to Baha'is definitely is not considered, according to our constitution, a religion. So you see, our concept of religion is based in divine religions. Not everybody is creating a school of thought. We call them religion.
We do not recognize somebody as a Baha'i as a religion.
و با توجه به اینکه بهائیت در واقع یک آیین بندرآوردی استعمار ساخته است که فقط برای تقویت استعمار و ضربه زدن به اسلام و منفجر کردن اسلام از درون ساخته شده. یعنی در واقع اسلام نیست. نه اسلام نیست، هیچ آیین الهی نیست.
And Baha'ism was a political movement. That's what we understand from our study of history. You can do that too. There is no spiritual assembly for Baha'ism. We have all sorts of institutions, buildings, societies, clubs, but no spiritual institution for Baha'is. It's not a spiritual movement. Bahaism is a political movement and not a religion.
And although Islamic leaders also believe Baha'is strongly supported the Shah of Iran, these radio attacks against the Baha'is were broadcast in 1955, when the Shah was in power, and the Baha'i National Center in Tehran was taken over by the army and dismantled piece by piece, with the ceremonial help of Muslim clergymen and officers of the Shah's military. After the Islamic Revolution, more destruction. A Revolutionary Guard standing atop the holiest of all Baha'i shrines in Iran, the house of a merchant in Shiraz where the foundation of the faith was laid. This 8mm film, smuggled out of Iran at great risk to the photographer, shows the destruction of the house in September of 1979.
Would the Iranian government consider protecting Baha'is if it felt they were in great danger?
Generally, among the leaders, we had a good number of them who were agents of America or Israel.
And they were executed?
Oh, yes.
In 1979, their holiest shrine was dismantled.
The shrine
torn
is
down.
not considered holy. We take it as a center of conspiracy. Very simple. It is not a religion.
Those killed included 3 teenage girls, plus this entire family. They died in Iran for their faith.
My nightmare began at 5 o'clock in the morning on June 17, 1983. I had a phone call from my brother in Australia. After I said, hi, how are you doing? And then he told me, our father has been murdered. I really didn't know what to do at that moment. I mean, my father, a gentle, loving man, has been executed. I had 2 finches at home. The first thing I remember do, I just felt that I won't let the finches go, and that's what I did. On June 19, 1983, I had another phone call. It was my brother, and he said that he wanted to tell me that our mom joined that. And he was crying when he said, I want to tell you that our sister is with him at this moment. They're all together. I would like to tell you a little bit about my family. I have a brother lives in Australia, and I have a sister lives in Nigeria, and I had 2 sisters in Iran. My father was an employee of a retired employee of the Iranian National Oil Company, and my mother was a housewife. I left Iran before the revolution, but my 2 little sisters, they were in Iran at that time. On November 29, 1982, my father and Ayatollah Eshraghi, my mother Izzat, and my sister Roya were abducted from our house in Shiraz. Among them, that night and the next night, 80 more Baha'i were arrested in the city of Shiraz. During the trial, they asked my sister and other Baha'is to deny their faith. Upon doing so, they would be set free. Even the judge told my sister, if my dad denied his faith, he would get his retirement benefit back and he would be set free. And my sister could go back to the university because she was expelled from the university. I think it was June 15, 1983. That was the last day that my sister went to the prison to see my dad. The purpose of the meeting was that she want to go there and she want to get a permission to get engaged with her fiancé. With her was her fiancé and our cousin. Of course, my dad told them that they can get engaged. My future brother-in-law asked my dad, Mr. Eshraghi, I'm sorry that you're not going to be in our ceremony. And my dad told him, well, if I'm not going to be there, I'm pretty sure my spirit will be there. On June 16, my dad got executed, and my sister got engaged. She heard about the execution the day after the execution. She went to the morgue and she begged the man in charge of the morgue for her to go in there, see if her dad is in there. And then she went there and she found out that our dad was in there. The same day, she was supposed to go to the prisons, the ladies' prison, to see my mom and my other sister. So she went there and she told my mom what had happened to Dad. My mom simply said, I wish I were in his place. I wish I could sacrifice myself for him. And my other sister, she was simply dropping tears. After the visiting hours, they execute all of them, 10 ladies. Including them were about 3 teenage girls. The next day, my sister, she found out about it. She went to the morgue again, and she told the man, I think I have some more people in there. And he let her in. I think he felt sorry because they wouldn't allow anybody to go into the morgue. So she went there. First she saw my sister, and then she looked and looked and looked, and she could not find my mom. After probably 5 minutes, she saw an old lady with her face turned almost black. It was my mom. She fell on her body and she said, thank you, Mom, thank you, I'm proud of you. And then, after the man in charge of the morgue came and said, who is this? Your dad was here yesterday. Who is this? This is my mom. Come here, I want to show you my sister. This is my sister. Two weeks after the execution, the government authority came to our house, threw my then 17-and-a-half-year-old sister out of the house, and they confiscate our house and all our belongings, whatever we had. Since then, my sister has been going to the prison to see other Baha'i members. She's been going there since she was 16. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
My family lived in Shiraz for about 13 years when I was going to school. So I did my primary and secondary school in Shiraz while my family were around, and due to the job of my father, who was working for the National Oil Company, he was transferred to another city. But I stayed in Shiraz because I was going to university at the time. So really, Shiraz is a city that I grew up while I was still aware, while I was young, and then I was a teenager, and then I was a young student.
سبز بالو جات سبز می سبزه رفتی رفتی و حالا جات سبز می سبزه همو بالو بالو جات سبزه همو بالو بالو جات سبزه شیراز 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 کاکو جات.
And of course the situation was not very good in Shiraz. So the Iran-Iraq war had started, and a lot of people from these war-ridden cities would come to Shiraz, which was the biggest city closest to the war zone. And we had a two-story building house. So my family decided that they would house some of these people who have fled the war, and until they find other means of transportation to go wherever, or other homes. And I think this coming and going of people that were not the members of the family attracted the attention of perhaps some neighbors, some authorities. And in 1981, our house was raided, and in the morning, and my family, together with two guests that were visiting at the time, were taken to prison. They were released after 3-4 days, because I think they had thought that maybe this is a house with political agenda, and then later on they found out that these are Baha'is. They were released. However, they stayed on their radar, and 1 year later, in 1982, there were raid on the Baha'i houses within a month. That first they arrested about 40 Baha'is from the Baha'i families and were imprisoned, and after a month another 40. So my house was raided in the second time, that which was in November of 1982. And they had come to the house after 9 p.m. and they had of course looked around, taken whatever they thought that it may help them to find excuse to sentence the family. And when they were going, they brought a list and they asked for my father, mother, and my sister Roya to go with them for questioning. And the youngest in our family said that, what about me? Whatever we have done together. So why don't I come? And they said, no, it is only these 3 that we can take. So when my father was saying goodbye to my sister, he whispered in her ear that, don't stay alone in the house. Go and find someone to stay with you. This gentleman may come back. And I can imagine the pain of my sister once they have left and the phone has been cut and it is night and the house is empty. So she had to brave the evening and go to the neighborhood and ask one of the relatives who lived not very far from our house to come over and stay with her that night. The next morning they find out that, yes, around 40 other Baha'is were arrested and they are in prison. And for 1 month, no one actually were able to contact them, to communicate with them. I think during this month, they are usually kept in the prison of the Revolutionary Guards. And then after this month, they are transferred after a lot of interrogations and who knows what. They are transferred to Adilabad prison, and that is a prison where the visitors are accepted. So it was after 1 month that my sister was able to go and visit our father on every Wednesday, and mother and sister every Saturday. I and my 2 brothers were all out of Iran at the time. When, for example, when my sister told them about the execution of my father, which had happened 2 days prior to their execution, my mother had not even shed a single tear. And she told my sister that I knew this. I had a dream that we were together with your father in a beautiful garden. And I knew what had happened, and I know what is going to happen. We will all be executed. You know, history shows that a lot of time atrocities happen and continue to happen. And I sometimes think about it and I say that when do we learn from history? So generally I think that these remembering the loved ones who have sacrificed their life for whatever, remembering all these young people who are being killed, shot in the eye right now in Iran, and thinking about similar atrocities that happen in 4 corners of the world, I think that to honor all these lives that are lost, we should reflect on how to change our mindset, how to start really instilling in the heart of ourselves and everyone around us that seed of love and compassion for humanity. I think that is the main thing, that if every one of us have that love and compassion for other human beings, then we won't be able to do any of the atrocities that is happening now. So that is what I think a campaign to honor these women, or any campaign to bring awareness to people, is all about. Because if we hear and we get sad and then forget about it, nothing has been achieved. But once we actually take it into our heart and start to think that I am one of the players in this, and how can I as one person do, or what can I do that I can change me to begin with, and start to change the way I think and the way I feel about other human beings. Once we have that compassion, then I think we have done something. Yeah. So the trauma that happens, it is a little stone that is dropped in a pool of water, and the stone goes down, finished. But the ripples that it affects, it goes a long way. And when we look at what happens in the world, let's say what happens in Iran right now, and so many lives are affected, when you kind of expand this, you see that the whole world family is somehow affected by it. And we really have to look at the injustices of the world and find out that our story is one, whether injustice happens right here in this city or way back in Iran or Ukraine or wherever else.
Executed by the government simply for refusing to renounce their faith. NBC's Yasmin Vasugian explains how activists are now calling for change.
Akhtar Sabet, دختر عموی من است.
Why don't you let me be free to say who I am and what I want? Why don't you give me freedom of speech? That was Mona's words 40 years ago, just as appropriate today as it was then. Lovely words live on. She may not be here, but her words live on.
Look at the pictures of these women who made a decision that they would stand up and say no, because we deserve the right to embrace our religion and its values.
I do believe that this defiant stand against the oppressor is what unites and makes our story fun.
This song is dedicated to the 10 Baha'i women who were executed on June 18th, 1983 in Shiraz, Iran, simply because of their faith, and to all who work for gender equality in Iran and around the world. No force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come, and ever since the beginning of time, no night in history could stop the rise of the sun. Every page, every chapter, every word, every letter has a purpose in the book. Our story is one, from the page to the tongue. The words and the lyrics of a song aren't alive until the melody's sung. I sing on that night in Shiraz, 10 women as one, standing up for justice and equality. What a sight as she rose in the dark of the night, like a sun for the ones who have eyes to see. What was their crime? Teaching children to love all of humanity. What if that was me? What if that was me?
The struggle is long, but one we will overcome.
You earned the most exalted title of a martyr with your daughter. What an honor. Nosrat, a faith in God that would guarantee that this cause will see ultimate victory. Tahare, through the torment and torture that you endured, you kept the spirit and heart so pure. Zareen, so devoted with a heart like gold. Now your name will be remembered all the way to the golden age. Mahshid, Akhtar, in the dark of oppression, you both shine like the moon and the stars. Shahin, so detached from this world like a falcon in the breeze, soaring heavenly. Simin, even in the face of death, you kept smiling, cause your spirit knew the silver lining. Roya had the vision too, welcomed what the villain would do. Mona kissed the rope as her life was severed, now their spirits live forever, yeah.
The struggle is long, but one we will overcome. For in the pain and the sacrifice, the glory is won. The light of their spirit as bright as the sun. We honor the name, our story is one.
Turn back to the beginning of the book. In the sight of God, men and women have always been equal. Take a look in the pages of our history. Any lack of progress from women was the result of lack of opportunity, often put in place by men. And these systems of patriarchy are still causing oppression, trying to silence their voice and take away their choice and deny their human rights. So we continue the fight as we enter into a new chapter, where the theme is gender equality at a level that we've never had. Turn the page and remember that you are an actor in the spiritual drama, ready to reach a climax where men and women are equally strong. Like two wings of a bird, can't fly on our own, need both for humanity to soar. We are one till we reach gender equality. This story isn't done, no.
The struggle is long, but one we will overcome. For in the pain and the sacrifice, the